and transgender community. As the gray area between bisexual and straight continues to increase, so do the questions regarding appropriate behavior within relationships. While the inquisitiveness by heterosexually identified women is not new, the public's recent increased awareness and acceptance of female bisexuality is changing the way women view sex. But what constitutes being a bisexual woman? Furthermore, once a woman has defined herself as bisexual, what is the appropriate behavior and etiquette within or outside of her relationship? Today, my guest will try to answer some of these questions based on her own personal experiences as a married bisexual woman. And later, for many in the gay and lesbian community, coming out can be terrifying and confusing. Some don't know where to turn. Luckily, the Gay and Lesbian Switchboard of Long Island and their outreach program can help. My guest today is the Outreach Program Coordinator for this organization, and she will tell us all about that, plus much, much more. Please stay with us. Please welcome my guest today, Suzin Varro, to the show. Hi, Suzin.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Now, tell me, you are a married bisexual woman.
I would be that.
You are also the Outreach Program Coordinator for the Gay and Lesbian Switchboard of Long Island. But before we get to all of that and what that wonderful organization does for our gay and lesbian community, let's talk a little bit about your story, though. You are bisexual. What age did you kind of discover that side of you?
I think it's funny when you talk about what age I discovered. I think that when you go back to being a child and being innocent, I don't think that you're really discovering that you're any different than anybody else. And, you know, when you're young and unconditionally unprejudiced and, you know, loving everything in the universe, you don't really realize. I guess when I started to come of age and realized that, you know, society tells you that you should obviously be affectionate towards the opposite sex, and I started to realize that I was affectionate towards not only the opposite sex but my own sex. So I guess it would have to be, I guess, when you're starting to go through puberty and you have those hormones and
you have that gray area. I mean, we've all been through it ourselves.
But I don't think actually that I ever really, you know, questioned it. I think that it just always felt natural to me, that I never really felt like I shouldn't be that way.
So it was just who you are, you just always felt.
It was who I was, and I thought everybody was like that.
Well, what I find so interesting about your story is that you've recently been married for 12 years, just last week, and you are married to a man. So what I found so interesting about your story was being a bisexual woman and how you handle those relationships like that and how you make those choices. So let me just ask you, what were your thoughts when you had come to this conclusion that there was another side to you as bisexual?
I think that just like life, I was going through my life, doing the things that I was feeling with my heart, whether it would be to meet women or to meet somebody that a man. It wasn't like I was actively pursuing. I just was following my heart and going along my path in life. And I met Greg, my husband, and I fell in love with him. So I don't think that there was ever a time, because of my bisexuality, that I was going to hold back my heart from loving somebody, a man or a woman. So it never really presented a conflict for me as far as having to choose. I just followed my heart and I fell in love with a man.
So it wasn't
very
such
happily married to
12
man.
years, just last Monday, actually. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So it wasn't really that difficult of a decision for you to make, but based on your own personal experiences, do you find that it can be for some people?
I think that in this day and age and in this society, you know, what society definitely kind of sets as a goal, you have to choose. You know, I find that a lot of times even in the gay and lesbian community, you know, some people really don't believe in bisexuality. They believe that you're either gay or you're straight. I've had several friends tell me, you know, when are you going to choose sides? You know, there's really...
But they don't understand.
But I don't believe that sexuality is a black or white issue. I think that there is that gray area.
Exactly.
I think that I'm living proof of that. I think that you can love a man and a woman. You can have sexual feelings for a man and woman, and the bisexual people that are out there shouldn't feel like they need to choose sides.
Exactly.
You know, it's just a matter of handling it in your lifestyle, the way you choose to live your life, and, you know, and not worrying about what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, it's so stereotypical, and people are so closed-minded to this. But can I ask you, when you did come out, or when you admitted to yourself that you were bisexual at a young age, going through puberty, did you have serious relationships prior to your marriage with women?
I had relationships that were kind of, I think I was still young at that point, so there were, you know, romantic inclinations, there were, you know, sexual experiences, there were areas that never really actually formed a true relationship with another woman. Not that I wasn't able to, I probably would have been able to, but at that time in my life it wasn't, you know, an option. So I wasn't close to that, but it just happened to, you know, had relationships with men, and married and then divorced. After that I had met Greg, and the rest was history. Okay,
so when you were that age and you were coming out as a bisexual woman, what was the reactions to your family and your friends when you told them?
I don't think, I think as a bisexual, I think coming out is kind of a little bit different than with the gay and lesbian community. Everybody that pretty much knows me, everybody now that knows me that I'm on TV, hello, you know, I don't feel like I need to, coming out is a different experience for everybody. I don't think that I generally actually made a statement, but in my outreach program, in the way I live my life, I don't hold back in telling people. I haven't exactly came out to my family and said, hello everybody, because I'm married to a man, I have a happy life. And I don't think that it's really something that's necessary for me, but if it's something that comes across in conversation, of course, I would come forward and say it. But I think my friends and most of the people that do know me know that and accept me and love me for who I am.
Exactly. So they are your true friends. And so many people don't have that, so that's why we want to touch on the outreach program with the Gay and Lesbian Switchboard, because there are so many gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people that get bullied for who they are, and that's what that program actually benefits. That's how they help.
The outreach program was developed by all of the volunteers at the Switchboard. I came in, I've been there about 2 to 3 years, and there is this outpouring of bullying, and you're finding that a lot of the kids are having a hard time. In my research that I've been doing with the outreach program, they're having more hard of a time to accepting themselves than the society, I think. Society is putting on a lot of pressure with the youth, but I think in the end, I've done a lot of research and I do surveys, I think it's with the acceptance within themselves, and I think that Joan, we were speaking about it before, who you'll meet, it's not so much the bullying, it's the acceptance and the love of ourselves. And so the outreach program, I try to gear it away from the bullying because everybody's hearing this and it's getting shoved down our throats, and it's really been very prominent, but I think that we'll always have bullies, we'll always have haters, we'll always have people in this world that are going to not accept who you are or what you do or who you vote for or all these things. But I think in the end that if you have that self-acceptance, the self-love for yourself, then there's nothing that can harm you, there's nothing that can hurt you. And no bullies could affect you. So that's what I'm gearing the outreach towards, building up the youth's self-esteem, knowing that they're not any different than anybody else. They deserve to be loved. They're deserving of their own love more than anything, and building that up in them.
So this is basically what this program does, is kind of give them self-esteem to be who they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I touch upon a little bit of the bullying. I don't really talk about it all that much. I just go in and I try to get into their heads. I practice yoga, and I think that my yoga practice has taken me down this path, because in yoga, one of the limbs of yoga that you'll learn about if you ever practice yoga is service, and to serve others. And Martin Luther, I think, said it best when he said the most important question is, what are you doing for others? And I feel like he's you know, somebody that I look up to, Mother Teresa, Jesus, all these people that have always served and helped people, and I feel like if a day doesn't go by that I'm not doing something to help another human being, then I haven't lived a full day. And that's really what my goal in outreach is to. Any person that I can touch or help in any way, by giving them a hug, by telling them they're special, by, you know, just telling them it gets better, you know, as much as they've seen that out there. And then I feel like I'm doing justice.
You did something good.
Definitely,
good for you. And you're obviously so very comfortable with yourself, and you have such a great self-esteem.
I have my days.
Yourself.
You can ask my husband, you know, I have my insecurities. I have my days when I look in the mirror and I feel, you know, fat. Well, maybe not fat. I feel
definitely not from where I'm sitting.
insecure and not sure about myself. You know, that we all have that. But just to wake up every day and just tell yourself that you're beautiful, that you're deserving, that you're loved, and that, you know, there's nobody that can take that away from you.
Right.
It's really within yourself.
So prior to marrying your husband, I mean, you obviously told him that you were bisexual. I mean, what was that
I made
like?
it a point. I think that it was one of these things where I've always felt like with Greg and I, we've always been comfortable with putting it all out there about each other. There's never been any secrets. We're very open people. If anybody's ever met us, he's a musician. He's very creative. He's extremely handsome.
Yes, he's right there in the audience. He gave a wave.
And also, he's very compassionate, and he's very, he had the presence that I felt like I was safe when I met him, not something that would be imposing or something that I would have to fear. So the safe space that was created between the relationship, I felt like I could truly be myself. There wasn't anything that I needed to hide, and it came very easily, and I wanted to be honest with him, and I wanted him to know everything that there was that he needed to know about me before we went forward in our relationship. And, you know, he didn't have a problem with it. He loved me and accepted me for who I was, and that's how I knew the relationship was going down a good road, because you have to accept, you can't look to change other people. I mean, if that's not your cup of tea, then you move on. But we had something special between us, so.
Good.
In 12 years.
12 years,
Yeah.
wow. Just
And
last
we never
week?
had a fight.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that, you know, in a marriage, you know, like any other marriage, there's honesty, which we've always had with each other, and truth, trust, and love and laughter, and all these things that build the relationship, and excitement and fun, and just living our lives to the fullest. We've always been very passionate people, so
Excellent.
I think that that's most important
Good
about
for
us,
you.
our relationship.
When you were with him and prior to marrying him, did the thought ever come to your mind that, you know, what happens if you were to maybe fall in love with a female, or did
I think
like-
actually, I always just wondered, I was truly in love with him, so I never even entertained that thought, you know,
Right.
because I was committed. I have a ring on my finger, and it doesn't really come off. It's pretty tight. But I was truly in love with him, and when you're in love with somebody, you don't even, like, that would be like me saying to you, you know, if you're with somebody or you're thinking about being with somebody else, it's the same thing.
Right.
I was concerned about how he would feel, and we'd always keep those lines of communication open. How do you feel about this? How, you know, and he's one of the most confident people that I know. He's the most intelligent, warm-hearted person. So I think that it comes within the person, the partner that you're with, that he's extremely confident in knowing that.
So for you, it was a very easy decision.
Yeah,
It's just,
I mean,
you
know,
just follow your
he wasn't
heart.
skeptical about it. He wasn't thinking, oh boy, this is really going down a slippery slope. You know, our love, I think, really in the end,
Right.
is really what it's all about.
Good for you. Excellent. I'd like to move on to your Rainbow Warrior page. On Facebook, you are known as the Rainbow Warrior. We have your picture here. We'll get a little closer so that everybody could see it.
Yeah.
And we also have a graphic for you, which we will put that up right now. Excellent. So tell us a little bit about the Rainbow Warrior. Who is she?
The Rainbow Warrior.
She's you, but who else is she?
I think that, like I had said about the yoga, I created, I was laying in bed one night and I was thinking about the outreach program, and I was thinking about creating, you know, this service slash empowering slash rainbow, because if anybody knows me, they know I love rainbows. Hello. But I wanted to create, Facebook is such a powerful tool.
It's such a huge social network.
It's a huge social network, and you have the ability to really use it in a positive way. And I knew that I'm pretty much the Facebook queen. Everybody who knows me knows I do a lot of socializing Facebook. So I said, let me create this page where I can use it to reach out to people, to every single day. I get up at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
The first thing that I do is I go onto my page and I just affirm every day, giving something out there positive to the universe. You're loved. You're special. Rainbows splashed all over the page.
Yes.
I have about 300 likes from all over the world. I have people
good
that have
for
reached
you.
out to me. I have people who actually have inboxed me messages about just really kind of sad things, and I just feel like anything I can say to somebody, or
So they come to you for advice.
they'll ask me or they'll post things, and I just feel like if there's anything that I can do to make somebody feel how special they are, because I think that a lot of times in life we lose our light. We all have this little light that shines inside of us,
Right.
and I think sometimes that light goes out, so sometimes you need somebody else to kind of ignite it for
Exactly.
you.
That's a nice
So
way of putting it.
I like to ignite the light in people and know that it's shining. It's there. It's a little dim, but
What are some of the common stories that people inbox you for and maybe seek out your advice?
I think that it's just really a lot of the youth. I see Facebook is amazing because it can show you trends of people who are actually liking your page, the age medium. I've really gotten into actually following who's liking the page, who's on it. Tends to be slanted more towards the females, but the younger generation are really questioning. I'm finding there is more bisexuality. Kids are questioning, is it okay for me to be both bi? Do I have to choose sides? So there's a lot of that. I think that it's really just the self-acceptance. I think that a lot of times they're not feeling worthy because I can't imagine, in this day and age, every day you're a spotted elephant and you're in a herd of everybody that's just a white elephant. And here you are walking around with these spots because you feel like you're so different. And you're not any different. We all bleed the same. We all cry. We all hurt. We're all the same, and we're not different. And don't let anybody ever tell you that you're any different. And that's really what I like to tell them and reinstate in them, because a lot of times they're not getting it from their parents. They're not getting it from people that they see every day. They're not being told that. They're being told the opposite, which is very dangerous.
Right. And it's usually the bullies or people that are closed-minded.
And that can break you down,
Absolutely.
In the end, I think that you can build a self-esteem and you can build that self-love, but if day after day you're kind of like going against the tide, you get tired.
Yeah,
you get really tired. It's easy to give up, but don't give up.
Good for you, Susan. Thank you so much. Please stay with us because we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to hear more from Susan, as well as Joan Bloodgood with the Long Island Gay Lesbian Switchboard, and more of the outreach program as well. Stay with us. Joan. Hi there. I am back today with Suzin Varro from the Gay and Lesbian Switchboard of Long Island, who is also the coordinator of the outreach program, which we're going to talk more on this segment. As well, joining her is Joan Bloodgood, who is the chairperson of the Gay and Lesbian Switchboard of Long Island. Hi, Joan. Nice to see you.
Hi, Jason.
Thank you
Pleasure
for being
to
here
be
today.
here.
Thank you. So I'd like to talk to you now about the Gay and Lesbian Switchboard of Long Island.
Can I
and what it
interrupt
is.
you for a
You
minute?
absolutely can.
I just want to say that Susan came to us a few years ago, and outreach was her baby. It wasn't a group decision. We created the position just for her.
Oh, wow.
She's got our full support, and we're very proud of the work that she's
That's
doing.
so great.
I'm
Big round of
blushing.
applause for Susan. You didn't tell us that in your interview just a few minutes ago.
I don't know. I feel like it was the inspiration of the group from the Switchboard that instilled in me, because of the great group of people that are there at the Switchboard. It's unbelievable. I mean, they've been in this organization for 25 years. I'm the baby of the group. So without their love and support, I wouldn't have been able to foster that. So I acquiesce to you.
So, Joan, let's talk now about the Long Island Gay Lesbian Switchboard. You are the chairperson. How did you become involved in the program?
About 16, 17 years ago, I found myself isolated, alone, at the end of a very, very bad relationship. No gay friends, no gay community.
Wow.
And I called. And I get very teary-eyed when I say this, but they really saved my life.
Really?
And I was invited to be a volunteer. And I signed up. And some of the people that I trained with are still there today, 17 years later.
Wow.
And I just became the chairperson after I resisted for 17 years, but I got roped into it. So that's how I got involved.
Wow. So just on the other side of that phone is just a friendly voice for people to call. I mean, what are some of the calls that come through? What is...
They're just like that. They're people that are lost, people that are isolated, people that don't have computers, people that can't get information, people that have no friends, still in the closet, can't talk to their family.
Because in fear of coming out, in fear of acceptance.
Oh, sure. And this goes from 20 years old to 60 years old.
Wow. So
People
it really
are
does
still
cover
living.
a huge age range.
Yeah, people are still living with those fears. Absolutely.
Good. So what keeps you going with this program? What is your task, let's say, as the chairperson?
Well, I do the fundraising, which I love. We have 2 fundraisers a year. Knock wood, keeps us going, keeps money in the bank.
Good.
And just the fact that this is such a close-knit group, volunteers tend to come and go. They're either here for a year that they're in college, or they're here when they need something or somebody, you know, and then they leave, unfortunately. But the group that's there now, long-term, one of them is there for the whole 21 years.
Wow.
So it's the group that keeps you going, and it's the things that we do, and you can't get a better reason to belong to a group than to
It
be
sounds like
there
such a great group.
on the other end of the phone for someone who's crying or wants to hurt themselves or whatever reason, and to be able to hang up the phone, you know you've done something special for somebody, and that
That's
keeps you
excellent.
going.
I mean, as we said in the opening before, it's such a gray area, and so many people fear their acceptance. So the fact that this organization is here and there's a place for them to call and speak to somebody is so important. I
And
mean,
it's anonymous.
okay, so that's even better for people
Right.
that, you know, do fear that acceptance with families and don't want to put their name out there. That's such a great thing. Now, if I could just go back to your situation when you had originally called them and spoke to somebody, what did you walk away with? What was the experience like for you?
Well, there was this person on the other end of the phone who had the time to listen to me. And the more I spoke, the more open I became with him. And it was a man. And at the end of the conversation, he said to me, listen, we're having a fundraiser. Why don't you come down and look for me, talk to me? And I did. I drove down into this huge group of gay and lesbian people that I had never, ever been in before. I mean, I was in the closet with my relationship.
So your relationship that you were coming out of was with a male?
No.
It was a female?
No.
Okay.
Do you want to go that far back? I've been married. I've been married and divorced twice. I have 2 children. But just the fact that I was in this position, I looked around and I thought, oh my God, I'm really not alone. And look at all these women and look at all these men, and they're all doing something. They're all part of something. And so I joined. I joined, and I took the training, and I've been there ever since.
Well, that's very good. Such a great organization. Because I did meet all of you prior to today's show. I mean, we did the Pride Parade together in
We had the
Huntington
pleasure
several
of
weeks
having
ago.
Jason march with us
That was
in
such a
Huntington
great
Pride
experience, and
to be
I
behind
thank you
our
so
banner.
much.
It was
Yeah,
beautiful.
Thank
we
you.
loved having you there. We really
Thank
did.
you. It
The
was such a great
Switchboard is
experience.
21 years old, and
Wow.
it marched in the first parade.